Welcome to part 3 of my Pixinsight tutorials for absolute beginners. Now in part 2 we talked about the blink process window, and we were able to go through all our frames and remove those that had airliners and jets and satellites and starbursts, some clouds, some haze, maybe the moon came up and washed out a few frames, and perhaps some chemtrails. And that worked really well. Today we're going to go to look at the script entitled subframe selector. And the purpose of this part 3 is for us to look and find, out of all our frames that we shot the night before or the week before, let's go through them and find the absolute best frame with the best focused and seeing condition, and it's going to go by the full weight half maximum of the star, or its tightness, or its intensity as it hits the chip. So let's get started. So we've opened up this under script, subframe selector, and we're going to go add some files. So I'm going to go on my terabyte. I'm going to go under the Galaxy M108, and like you can see here I have a whole set of frames that are fits. Just before we do that, I think I'm going to remove what's in here. Just going to delete these files for a second because it's going to sorry, wrong folder. Back to junk. Select all, delete those, and go back to the Galaxy, and we're going to select all our good frames and bad frames all mixed in together. And there they are. So basically we're just going to tell Pixinsight, look, could you measure these and give me the full width half maximum and the noise, everything that's in the frame, analyze every frame. So let's just go ahead and hit measure. Very simple. You've already chosen them. Go ahead and hit measure. Pixinsight's going to take 2-3 minutes to analyze each individual frame. Now these are small. They're very small frames from a very small camera, so it won't take long. But if this was a DSLR and the frames were 30-40 meg each, like an 18 megapixel camera, and they were CR2 raw, maybe 50 meg per file, and you had 50 files, you're looking at 15-20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, and that's all pending on how many processors you have and how much RAM. So here we go. That was very fast, only because the files are tiny. So here's what we got for a result. Now what I should have mentioned, and I can still do it now, but you should have done this before, is under the parameters. See here it says, what is your image scale of your camera / telescope? You kind of have to know this, but if you don't know it, I think I've got a website here up on Chrome to help you decide. So how to calculate the image scale of your field of view. So in this case, if you should know what your pixel size of your camera is, and I knew that it was 7.50, and I was shooting through my C8, and I don't think I was using a reducer, so that would have been 2000 millimeters, and my chip's width and height, and you can get all this from your manufacturer, whether you're using a ZWO or using a QHY or Altair Astro or a DSi Pro, whatever camera. Go right to the website, go down the specifications, highlight the entire specification, put it in Notepad, and say my CCD. And so I knew it was 5. These are my specifications for my camera. So if I hit calculate, and I already did it earlier, 0.77. So grab this, copy it. By the way, the website is celestialwonders.com, tools, image scale calculator. So take note of that, celestialwonders.com. And of course you're going to go here and paste. And this is going to help do the measurement. Technically I should remeasure them, but we don't have to. That's not the point of this operation. It's just to show you that after analyzing each frame, Pixinsight put them in order of quality. So now you can sort that table. First I want to minimize our add files because it's kind of taking up some room, and I want to drop the plot down. So you have these little blue arrows that go arrow up, arrow down. In this case we're arrowing down on this one, down on this one. I'll bring this down a little bit more. Now let's look at the full weight half maximum. In other words, this row right here, this row right here. Again, the output, you can output weights, you can output signal noise ratio weights, there's a whole different pile in the menu of how this graph changes. Unlock, we are looking for the best frame to stack our images with. FWHM. Let's change the chart to FWHM. And as you can see, the sky varying, the guiding was varying, but the stars are still pretty decent, starting at 1.22 and horribly ending at 5.02. Of course, we're not going to want those. We're going to set a limit. The limit is whatever you feel is unacceptable. And everything from 1 to 3 is pretty good. 2 to 3 is pretty good. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is not so good. And 6 to 10 is, 8 to 10 is horrible, and 5 to 6 is, it depends on the size of the telescope, the camera, the sky, everything. We don't care about that. We want this little guy. So because of that, we want to take note of this little guy. 1084005. Let's open up Notepad. Bring it over. 1084005. So let's just put that down because we want to remember this. This is going to be our best frame as a reference when we go to debayer and register and integrate. That's the frame we'll be choosing instead of just picking whatever comes up on the top. And sometimes the best one does come up on the top, but why make it an accident when you can choose the best frame to stack all your subs? So we've chosen a good one. We kept track of it. What's our next step? Well, we said that anything above 4.2 is kind of horrible, and anything low way down here is absolutely fantastic. Anything in the 1 range. And I believe if we try to track down 1.22, and if I find the lowest, I think this may actually be 4005, and it is 4005. Excellent. So don't do that because the X will take it out. These two frames on the flat board, they're just this right here, 0 and 0. Like, they were so horrible, so stretched, so bad that Pixinsight, you know what? I can't even measure these. So X for reject. Now, those that are too high, in other words, above 4, we have 1. We have 1 here, 3, maybe this one here, 4. This one's iffy, 5, 6, and we'll leave the rest. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If we scroll down, we should start notice that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are been rejected, and 7, 8. Absolute perfection. All right, so they have all these ones that are X'd out, they will be rejected. We do not want to use those. They will damage our image. Garbage in, garbage out. These being anywhere from 1.22 all the way to just 4-ish, 3.99. To me, my conditions, everything, it's acceptable. And some people will say, no, that's don't ever shoot anything. Don't keep anything over 2.5. Okay, well, this isn't paradise. So we have what we have. We work with what we work, and it's better than guessing to get the best frame. So we got the best frame. We marked it. We have it marked down, which is our nice 1.22 frame. Right here, we got it on Notepad. Now, what should we do with all these? How can Pixinsight deal with each frame without me having to run over here every 2 minutes, go down here and start deleting all the numbers? Why do that when it's such a great program? Here's what we do. We're going to up the menu, hide the table. We're going to drop down the output, and we're going to say copy all the good files to this directory. So let's click on the little folder to find that directory. Go to M108, and I already created approved. I select it because it says approved down here, and select folder. Now here it is, approved. Now rejection, and there's an _A for approved, so they're going to be resuffixed to A. The junky ones are going to be, the postfix will be X for rejected. And where do we put those? I know it's already there, but I want to show you. Click on the folder for reject, go back to M108, select junk folder, and select the folder. And now those ones that we X'd out manually, we chose the bad ones. We don't want those, but we want to keep the approved ones, 2 separate folders. So Ask the user if there's any errors. Yes, you want to interface a bit with Pixinsight. There possibly will not be any errors. It'll just fly right through it. And separate good, approve, from bad, junk. Hit it. Captain, output subframes. Hopefully that'll go real fast. Wow, that was fast. That's done. Okay, so what's the result? Well, let's go have a look. Go back to M108. Here's all the bad frames and good frames mixed together. Let's go to approved. And now we have 58 good frames with a A in front. In other words, approved. I'll go back. I'll go to junk. We have 8 rejected frames, just as we chose on the X's here and down below. These we will not use. These we definitely will use. And now you have selected yourself a good frame. Now remember what I said about, well, where's our good one? Where's the one we absolutely have to use? This entire operation is based on this guy right here. So let's find him. So we're looking for 4005. So 4005, here she is right here. Right click, rename, go to the front, reference frame, enter. That's it. You're done. We're done. All this operation was to analyze all our frames, give us the best ones that we can use, reject everything above 4, 4.55, reject anything that's double stars that are just ugly. And for example, if we go here and we double click, let's say we do 7. Wow, look at how horrible that is. Look at it must have got bumped when I was walking around, and just a double stars. So 7 was really bad. I believe 14 also wasn't very good. Wow, it's really stretched. The power of Pixinsight. Guys, you got to be amazed with this. This is incredible. I mean, this was unheard of 20 years ago. Look at the work that this program does. Is it worth its money? Absolutely. For those who can afford it, because it's not cheap. But saving weeks of work, or 12 hours of running through all the frames and sorting them out and looking for the bad ones and the good ones. Oh my goodness, it's an exercise in futility, but not with Pixinsight. So we're going to minimize that. We're done with our best frame. We checked it, we marked it, we referenced it. We're going to keep it. And this subframe selector is an amazing program. You may choose later on, if you say, well, I don't want to use full width half maximum, I want to use the signal to noise ratio. I think this is way better. The rejection algorithm does certain things. You have to understand which signal to noise ratios are acceptable, which ones are not acceptable. I don't use this one. I find that full width half maximum gives me a better preview of my focus and the star and the quality of the sky that specific night. So that, my friends, conclude, simply put, all the subframe selector, how to go about selecting your frame, how to enter them in, how to go down that row of FWH, finding the very, very best one to the very, very worst one, which is 508. Make sure you go above this line here, remove all the ones you don't like. You can get even more specific. You can even take these one and this one and, go crazy if you want. Some people, I'm just going to take everything above 3, 3, 2, 1. I don't want nothing over 3. Some say I don't want nothing over 3.5. Great, fantastic. If you got 150 frames, I would have got rid of a lot more than 8. Trust me. But I really hope you enjoyed this. This is not difficult. Yes, there's a lot of numbers, and there's always this part here where you have to enter you don't have to. You can leave it default 1 and 1. It will still do a great job. It's just that the system parameters for your telescope and your camera, if you know that you're shooting, let me change this for a second. For example, my new camera is 2.40 pixel size. I'm shooting at 904 on my Richney Chrétien, and I know that it's a huge chip. Okay, and again 3648. And if I calculate that, it'll probably turn out 055, 0548. So 055. This is my image scale. It's so important to have this. You need this in Astra Tortilla. You need this in APT. You'll need this not as much in Sharp Cap. 3.1 beta. You'll need this, definitely need this in Sequence Generator Pro, because that decides how wide the field of view is going to be based on the focal length of your telescope. And it's just an amazing thing. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to close this. I'm going to leave the module open. That concludes part 3 of selecting the best frame so that we can stack that reference frame to all the other ones. We'll have to follow lead to that specific one because it's the sharpest and tightest one. And so I had a great time. This was fun. Please subscribe to my channel. Tell all your friends. And take care. See you in part 4. We'll see what it is. Might be a surprise. Thank you.